Hello there. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Sayyid Nohin Nassim, and we are presenting on the big pharma industry and more specifically the unethical practices and their social consequences which take place due to the actions of these big pharma industries. My name is Sayyid Nohin Nassim, and I apologize for my voice. I am currently ill, and so my voice is extremely low pitched. We will begin with the future implications of these industry of this industry in specific, the big pharma industry. We'll touch on some of these topics and we're going to elaborate on it further. Let's begin with increased inequality. So as we can see, without systemic reform, disparities in health care access will grow. This is nothing new to us. We have seen time and time again how people coming from underserved areas and communities are not able to afford life-saving drugs, to the point that they even have to beg at times, and they even have to show their reports to other people so that other people could help them buy the drugs. And so what happens is that these big pharma companies put vulnerable populations at risk because they exclude them from advancements in medicine. And obviously, this unchecked behavior leads to societal breakdowns. This leads to activism, protests, and this leads to unrest in society in general. This also increases mental health challenges. One may ask, how exactly does not having a life-saving drug increase mental health challenge? For instance, if you're ill or if your loved one is ill and you are coming from an underserved community and you have low income and you cannot afford a drug and you know that this drug is crucial for this person to be saved, and you know all of these things, but you also know that you cannot afford that drug, obviously it's going to affect your mental health. And so it is undeniable the fact that when you cannot afford life-saving drugs, then that increases the mental health challenges that one goes through. And due to this being unaffordable, as in the drugs being unaffordable, and escalating public healthcare crisis in low-income countries, the mental health challenges are exacerbated to new heights. When it comes to the second point, we are going to briefly touch upon ethical AI integration. Now, AI, as we know, is already making heads turn because of the fact that it's changing the dynamics of a lot of industries. Now, we fear that if AI were to be integrated into pharmaceutical industries in this fashion, then it will become even more problematic. In what fashion, one may ask? In the way that it prioritizes high profit pricing strategies, which makes life-saving drugs unaffordable for many. As if it's not already unaffordable, AI could help industries make it even more unaffordable by proving to be more efficient, because we know that AI is extremely efficient. Yes, but being extremely efficient also means reducing, reducing, or rather increasing the prices so that these big pharmaceuticals increase their profit making ability. So AI, as we can see, could prioritize high profit pricing strategies, making life-saving drugs unaffordable for many. or focus research on diseases prevalent in wealthy regions as well. So this is also quite prevalent in our society, where a lot of focus is made to see what the wealthy are going through and what problems and illnesses the wealthy are facing, rather than also focusing on people who come from underserved areas and what problems they are facing. And so what this does is that it ignores low-income populations altogether, isolating them in a way which makes them feel underserved if they're not already. Obviously they are, but this adds an extra layer to it. Additionally, rushed drug approvals driven by AI predictions might lead to severe side effects because the pharmaceuticals are basically big corporations who are looking to profit off of people's illnesses. We can be sure that they have in the past and will most likely in the future also rush drug approvals so that it can be released to the market and so that they can start making profits. But once they tried and implemented via AI predictions, this problem could be exacerbated to new heights. And so they need to make sure that the drug approvals are not rushed whatsoever. I apologize for my voice. While misuse of patient data raises privacy concerns without strict ethical guidelines, AI could deepen mistrust. And it already has deepened mistrust across industries because people or employers in specific are laying off a lot of employees due to AI. So it's already causing mistrust, but this mistrust could be widened in healthcare specifically, and that would result in even more people mistrusting. I apologize. Yeah, I could deepen mistrust, widen healthcare gaps, and prioritize profits over patient welfare. We already know this is happening, but the problem could increase with ethical AI integration. I cannot properly speak because of my illness, but I'm trying my best. Okay, regulation challenges. Governments worldwide may face increasing difficulty in regulating the pharmaceutical industry as companies exploit legal loopholes and exert political influence. And as we know, a lot of times companies also also basically they join hands with the governments to make more profits, and this could come at the expense of the well-being of the general populace. Failure to address these challenges could lead to growing public discontent and activism against Big Pharma. If Miss I will try to make shorten this because it's getting harder for me to speak. Big Pharma consistently follows egoistic ethics, prioritizing self-interest and profit maximization. Now, obviously, as we can see, big pharma companies, what they do is that they want to maximize their profit maximization. They want to increase their profit maximization. And so, and this is evident in strategies like exploiting patent systems to extend monopolies and focusing on developing medications for high-income markets while neglecting diseases affecting low-income populations. And so what this does is that this isolates people in low income populations, and this stops them this uh, this basically isolates the low income populations, and this blocks their access to life-saving drugs. And so this can be a form of egoism on the part of the of the pharma industry. The pharmaceutical industry rarely prioritizes the greatest good for the greatest number of people. Yes, as we can see, investments are driven by profitability rather than addressing widespread global health concerns, such as funding for neglected tropical diseases. Even when breakthroughs occur, access is often restricted by high costs, preventing these innovations from benefiting the majority. And the other reason the majority is not benefited is because some of the drugs are only kept for the rich, and the poor do not have access to that. And so, obviously, when they do not have access to those drugs, then it's not available for the masses, it's only available for the select few. The ontological ethics, which focus on duty like ethics, honesty, transparency, and fairness, we clearly can see that this is missing from the pharma industries. This is evident in practice like manipulating clinical trial designs to yield favorable outcomes, or even failing to obtain informed consent during drug trials. And the other thing is that a lot of times, if these pharmas want to test their drugs, they go specifically to underserved areas where they know that regulations are not so restricted or so restrictive. And what they do is that they use those drugs on that population to see if the side effects are, what the side effects are, and then they release it into the then they release it to the mass market. Okay. And as we can see, when it comes to CSR initiatives, such as sustainability programs or donations, uh, these often fail to address systemic issues like drug affordability or accessibility. So, CSR is basically frequently used as a branding tool rather than a genuine commitment to ethical practices. So it's more like greenwashing when it comes to environment. We have greenwashing. So this is similar to that, where they give this mirage to people, where they show this mirage to people that, look at us, we're genuine in our commitment to ethical practices, while in actuality they're not. And so what we need is a robust CSR framework, which would involve meaningful reforms in pricing, transparency, and global health equity. As long as they do not reduce the price to make it more accessible to poor people, we cannot say that they are involved in any CSR activities. And even if they are, it shouldn't be their priority. Their main priority should be to reduce the pricing so that more people can access the drugs. In conclusion, the pharmaceutical industry has undeniably transformed the healthcare system. We cannot deny, obviously, the fact that the pharmaceutical industry has done a lot for us over the past few decades, and our lifespans have also increased. Yes, firstly due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then due to the potential of these drugs. However, it's unethical practice. The unethical practices which are still present prove to be significant challenges that undermine its contributions. So as good as the pharmaceutical company or the pharmaceutical industry is, because of these because of these these unethical practices are basically undermining the good that they have done. And so we need to address these issues, which requires a robust regulatory oversight, enhanced transparency, and prioritizing patient welfare over profits. Public advocacy coupled with international cooperation is essential to ensure a future where healthcare advancements benefit all, not just the privileged few. This was from me, Sayyido and Naseem. I apologize for my constant coughing. I couldn't control it, but this was the conclusion, and Jazakallah khair.